Hey everyone, in this video tutorial, we're going to reclaim the creativity that you were born with. So I'm very excited about this because this is something that we get away from as adults sometimes. And I want to help you to get back to this inborn, innate creativity. And so my call to action for you is to try a new frame of reference, step out of what's familiar in order to unlock hidden potential, consider new definitions of commonly used words, and get excited about what's to come. So what's on tap? We're going to talk about what creativity even is, what blocks it, who has it, what it does, what creative writing is, and where we can find creativity within ourselves and on the page. And I'm going to give you your first step. So what is creativity? So this is a really thorough definition. I actually really like this, and I put this together so that you can really start thinking about where you can find it. So it's bringing new things into existence. And this can include, for those of us who are storytellers, stories that haven't been told, characters that readers haven't yet met, scenes that haven't yet been lived out. And we can also say that creativity is selecting a medium of expression. Okay, so it's not just this nebulous thing that exists, or it's this thing that you can tap into. But when we're really talking about what creativity is, it definitely involves your selection as the creator of a medium. Okay, so it's also being within an aesthetic realm. This can include visual art, music, dance, literature, theater, digital art, film, design, architecture, culinary arts, and photography, and much more. Okay, this is just an example list. It means that you're feeling your emotions fully. You're towing the line between art and craft. I really talk a lot about that with my writers. You're taking new approaches to ideas and going in different directions than maybe seem logical or what comes to mind just readily. Okay. You're also experimenting with different iterations of a work, and you're exploring possibilities and imagining alternatives to what's right in front of us. And then to continue, you're putting themes, ideas, and features together that at first don't seem logical. So you're always looking for that new angle. You're seeking new perspectives, making themes and concepts concrete. You're making a statement about the human condition. That's a really big one. You're mastering techniques and you're breaking the rules. You're seeking to connect with an audience. You're seeking to add value to the world, and you're fashioning something that is open to multiple subjective interpretations. Okay, so if you notice here in these two lists, I highlighted some things that you can really kind of start with and start focusing on, and then really explore some of the ones that are not highlighted. But all of them, I think, come to play in what creativity really is. So see if you can sit down with your journal and explore some of these definitions. All right, now what blocks creativity? So careers and occupations often require us to be practical. Teachers and parents, they often push us to get a degree that we can use. Some of us weren't encouraged to be creative as kids or even seen by others as creative. It's often hard to see the real world application of our creativity. Media can often portray creative people to be flaky, penniless, off kilter, unable to cope with life, unhealthy, depressed, and self indulgent. And of course, none of us wants to be any of those things. The starving artist trope is still pervasive and hard to shake, despite the fact that many creative people leverage their gifts to build wealth. Okay, so start looking for examples of really successful creatives who are drawing an income and really generating wealth. And then new creative endeavors can involve steep learning curves, making us feel unworthy and qualified. There's a lot to do sometimes when we're being creative. So that alone, the challenge can push us away. And then number 8, for those of us who are writing a book, what I want to say here is that it doesn't offer a quick return on investment. So it deters people who don't cultivate the stamina. And then next, who has it? Let me tell you the truth about creativity. Everybody has it. Everybody was born with it. It's just a matter about how you go about reclaiming it as an adult. So anyone can participate in what I just described once they find their best medium of expression. Now, for me and probably for you, it's telling stories. Everyone is born with creativity built in. So this is the factory setting. So if you think of yourself, as really just having innate qualities, this is one of them. Creativity is our birthright and our natural state. And if you need proof, just observe small children. They are often highly creative without any special prompting. Creativity is your inheritance from the universe. So think about this, all of the matter, the elements and the particles, the waves, all the cells that make up your physical existence, that combined with the neural networks that enable your consciousness, that combined with the fact that every ancestor has given you your DNA, okay, and that has brought you here. And really think of creativity as your inheritance here. Like, this is something that every fiber of your being is invested with this ability, right? So this is your birthright, this is your inheritance. Anyone can reclaim it no matter how old you are. Anyone can commit to nurturing your creativity. Anyone can master craft. Okay, so this is a possibility for everyone, but we do have to rise to the occasion. Now, what does it do? Okay, beyond our personal gratification, which I hope you get, personal gratification out of any creative activity. But what does it really do? So creative works can expand people's intellect and emotional intelligence. It can unite communities and cultures. It can generate wealth. And if you want an example of that, go look into DoorDash. There was a time when they were auctioning off works of art for people who were placing orders, and this was really supporting artists. So that's a really great example of a company that wanted to support artists and generate wealth that way, and also support the workers. So that's a really good example. It helps people reach new understandings. It can serve as a warning, and it can record history. Very important things here. We creatives have a really important role. So let's step into it. All right, so where can we find it within ourselves? So two things I want to talk about here are mindset and habits. So under mindset, this is your state of being, the way that you control your thoughts, your emotions, and the energy that you bring to any creative act. So always be humble, always look into ways to play and explore different possibilities, be courageous, trust yourself, trust that everything is leading to a really good result. Always be honest, vulnerable, and authentic in your expressions, and really seek to truly express yourself. And one thing that I work with my writers on is to silence the ego, which can really get in there and try to, come from this fear-based, insecure-based way of being, and keep us from really opening our hearts and expressing ourselves. Another thing you want to do is look for ways to integrate your left brain and your right brain. So all of your analytical, linear, process-oriented thinking, try to integrate that with your playful, creative, and intuitive side. Okay. And then intuition is a really big part of creativity as well. Now, your habits, we don't just wake up one morning, do something creative, and that's it. And that's our masterpiece. You really want to be learning constantly, practicing constantly, and commit to craft and technique. That is something that really means that you can execute a creative vision, is your good habits. Now, where can we find it on the page? All right, so as creative writers, I wanted to mention that there are several different genres that you can explore, of course, anything from fiction and memoir to narrative nonfiction. I would also say that how-tos and self-helps can be highly creative, just like poetry, drama, even essays and blogs. Anything with the written word is the occasion for you to be creative. Now, one thing I really like to think about is hybrid spaces and unique combinations of things. You can really unlock your creativity and reclaim it when you look for uncovered opportunities to use language. So what if you told a story in an essay? What if you wrote upmarket fiction, which combines commercial concerns with literary aspirations? What if you published, quote unquote, a poem on a supermarket conveyor belt? That actually happened in Miami, Florida, as part of a poetry festival one year. What if you took cross-disciplinary approaches, like finding ways and intersections, finding ways for art and science to intersect, finding ways for art and spirituality to intersect? Those intersections can be really, really rewarding, and a place where you can unleash your creativity. Here's some more ideas for where to find it on the page. So what if you turned up the volume on your voice? What if you found out the ingredients of your voice and amplified those? Digging deep into the real emotions of a written piece, using your five senses to tell a story. So what is your character seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and feeling? And then what if you could also, as part of your techniques, what if you could create a really good system or container to house a growing project so that it stays organized, and you can always retrieve your materials, you know where everything is, from your notes to your chapter drafts. And then what kind of experiments could you run? So what if you wrote your same story in a different genre? What would you discover? What if you changed the setting for your story? What if you dumped everything out on a piece of paper and looked for patterns, things to pursue after you do sort of the stream of consciousness writing? What if you mastered all of the rules of writing that you could, and then you made conscious, unconventional choices without being sloppy, negligent, or arrogant? So, an example from the film world, The Place Beyond the Pines. Here, the main character dies halfway through. Sorry to blow that for you, but I just want to point this out as an example. You can check it out. Dies halfway through the movie, and his absence can be felt by all of the other characters. What an unconventional choice, but it really, really works here. And then multitasking. Multitasking gets a bad rap because it can be distracting and overwhelming. But what if you were writing new scenes while reading, researching, or posting about your writing? So those tasks can really support one another. And it's technically multitasking, but really you're pushing the needle forward in your writing life. What about opening multiple tabs on your laptop? I am the queen of doing that. And I love to toggle between them to achieve one specific goal because I can't just do something creative with one tab. I really need different things open at the same time so that I can use that process and a linear process to create something. Now, your first step, this is where it gets really good. So now that you've got a grasp of what creativity is, who has it, where you can find it within yourself and on the page, I want you to take a moment to get really clear about some of the possibilities and potential that is untapped in your current writing life and even in your current writing project. So just get really clear here, clear and simple. What do you want to write? Number one. Okay, get super, super clear about your desire. Okay, and be detailed here. Go into the very details, all of the details of what exactly you want to write. Who do you want to help, inspire, engage, enlighten, and entertain through your writing? So get really clear about your ideal readers. And number three, how your writing is going to support your entrepreneurial vision. So if you are a writer, you kind of need to think like an entrepreneur. You kind of need to think like, you are starting, you're creating a product, you're creating a revenue stream here. And this is part of your creative vision is really giving life to an entrepreneurial one. Number four, where do you want to unlock more creativity specifically as a writer? Okay, so think about some of the areas in your book. Maybe you want to have more interesting characters. Maybe you want to try something new with your voice. Number five, in what ways do you feel you are not being original or tapping into your full potential? So think about ways that maybe you have curtailed yourself, maybe things that you haven't tried that you wished you had, and maybe an opportunity passed you by, maybe a workshop passed you by. And so now you're like, this is something that I haven't gone into, and now I have the opportunity and the invitation. And then where have you not been owning up to what you really, really want to say through your writing? This is super important because I think we silence ourselves and deny our true calling and, really keep our gifts locked away in this little box where we're not vulnerable, where we're not showing up, and where we're safe from anyone telling us to stop doing something or saying that they don't like it or rejecting us. And so this first step is really, really going to empower you. Lastly, I want to invite you to reach out and let me know how things are going for you. Let me know how this tutorial works for you. You can go to my website, storyboldstudio.com. You've already probably been there, but definitely visit me again there on my site. You can follow me on Instagram at Storybold and join my live streams and engage with me there live. And you can also just send me an email directly, julie@storyboldstudio.com. I would be happy to receive your message and engage with you that way. It's been a pleasure to bring you this video tutorial, and I look forward to learning how it shows up in your life and helps you to reclaim your creativity.